Welcome to my channel, my Hebrew channel, Miel Hebraica and Hebrew Honey. Today I'm going to do a short study of a well-known verb in Hebrew, the nasa, and it's obviously has something to do with something that goes up, and that's why it's easy to remember. Among Hebrew scholars, this is sort of a good mnemonic. In other words, things that go up. And of course, in the Bible, we didn't have rockets or anything like that, but we did have things that would go up. And we'll do this study in the context of what happened in Genesis 12. And here we are in Genesis 12:8. From there, he moved on. This is Abraham. He moved on to the hill country east of Bethel, pitched his tent with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. He built an altar to Yahweh there, and he called on the name of Yahweh. And so what had happened is Abraham had come in from the north, from Padam Aram, passed through here along water sources. He was traveling with camels, and the animals needed water to drink, and so followed the Jordan, followed the Galilee here, and then up a wadi here towards Shechem. His first stop in the country was Shechem, and then from there we read here in Genesis 12 verse 8, he went down to Bethel and then found a spot between Bethel and Hai to pitch his tent, build an altar, and call on the name of Jehovah, Yahweh. Then after that, he traveled from here on down to the Negev, to the south. And that's what we have in Genesis 12, verse 9. And we have this particular verb, nasa, in two different forms. One is a prefixed form. Now, notice here that the root is nun samik ayin. Now, this particular nun is very easily assimilated. So the base root, the root that you have when you're down to two consonants, is the samik ayin, and that's really, if you're going to learn a root, learn it all the way down into its base root. The original Hebrews, that's where they started from, and this is the root they would attach things to. So over here, this samik ayin, instead of having a nun attached to it, has a yod attached to it. That's a third person pronoun in front here. Ava Yisha, okay, and he got up, he pulled up stakes. Avram, haloch, and walking, trekking. I use the word trekking. It's simply walking, but yeah, trekking sounds a little bit more of a journey. Nashoa, and he was going up. Now, this is, you can put this into a single event here. Yesa, in other words, boom, he got up to leave this spot between Bethel and Hai. But this is a constant action here. This is haloch, and nashoach. Often when you have a root and then you have a vav, it does a couple of things to it. One, it makes it a reflexive action. He was walking along with others, and he was going up with others. And it's more of a constant action as well. These are both actually absolute infinitives, but we tend to translate them as participles. So we have walking and going up, negeva, to the Negev. Okay, this is necheba. Okay, necheba. There's a Raphe here and there's Raphe here. This is, if you look up the original Ashura, the Codex, the Raphe, there's one up here too, tends to just sort of stretch things out. Sort of like a stretch, it's like putting an elastic band on top of it. Okay, stretch it out a little bit. And just a helpful thing for pronouncing it. Ha, ne, va. Okay, ha, ne, va. Okay. This is, I'm exaggerating that a little bit here, nechba, and towards the Negev. The last letter right here is a directional hey. The Hebrew, when it wanted to sort of point an arrow at something where you're going, this was the letter used for that. It's put on the end, it's tacked onto the end, and sometimes they'll it's generally sound with an a, kametz hey, and nechba. Okay, towards the Negev. Now, the reason I've used the translation here, pulled up stakes, because nasa means, lifting up, rising up. It's because of what happens with how the Bedouin travel, and Abraham traveled like a nomad, and what these people, when they put up their tent, and it's still seen throughout nomadic peoples in the Middle East as yet, Palestine, other places where people still have a nomadic lifestyle. The tent is a canvas or leather sheet, and then it's held up by poles, and then there's a pole in the middle here, and then the on the ends here, the ropes that go out to the edges here are held in with stakes. Okay, these stakes are hammered down into the ground. These ropes are tied to the stakes, and that's how the tent stays in place. If they do it well, it stays there even through a strong windstorm and so forth. But when it comes time to travel, it's time to pull up stakes. Time to yank on these things, push them back and forth so that they can loosen up and pull them out. And that process then is nasa, okay? Pulling up, pulling it all up. Once you pull up the stakes and these ropes aren't holding things up anymore, the whole thing collapses. Then you roll it all up, put it on your camel, and within a half hour, an hour or so, you can be on your way with your travels. So that's what it means to nasa, to pull it up and get rolling. Okay. And this sense of moving forward, incidentally, I'll probably do a few more studies of this based on just geographic location, but it's also a very important element of what happened in the Exodus. The Lord was signing or telling, in this case it was Abraham, later on it was with Moses and all the people of Israel in the Exodus. You got to pull up stakes and move forward. Pull up stakes and move forward. So there are often crucial steps in the process of what was happening here in crossing the land that was been promised to Abraham. Later on in the land, when Moses had to travel with the Exodus, it was a whole process going step by step by step throughout the Exodus. Now, this whole matter of pulling up stakes and moving forward and doing something is something that has to enter the mindset of those who serve the Lord. And if we take a look at the Great Commission, we'll see it. Matthew 28, verse 18, 19, and 20. Jesus came near, said to them, all authority has been given to me in heaven and earth. Go. Okay, that's nasa. Okay, pull up your stakes. Lift. Just disconnect from where you are. Go. Therefore, make disciples of the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe everything I've commanded you. And remember, I'm with you always to the end of the age. When we do yank up the stakes that are holding us down to just a routine life, this going might not be a great distance, across the street to your neighbor to talk about the Lord, but this is what it means to be a servant of God, listening to God when he says, go and do it, and then go and do it. And that's something that we have to learn, and has to be a mindset of us when we're in service to the Lord. May God bless, and until the next time.